Being the light of the world, like being the salt of the earth, describes the broad social impact of disciples who embody the Beatitudes. As we explored yesterday, serving as salt focuses on everyday lived experiences. Being the light of the world is ultimately an act of truth-telling that prompts change. Let me start with an analogy. While I'm getting better at it, I'm not particularly good at everyday household tasks like cleaning. Now, I don't live in filth, but I tend not to notice things like cobwebs in a corner or dust building up. It's not until something draws my attention to the buildup and then I notice it and act. So a couple months ago, I replaced a couple light bulbs in my kitchen. The new bulbs are bright. They are so bright I no longer turn on the kitchen lights first thing in the morning. But when I turned them on the first time, they exposed all those cobwebs in the corners. Moreover, I saw just how much dust sat on any edge where it could gather. Compelled to act, I pulled out my dust whisperer that I recently acquired from the Grove Collaborative. Now, if you're not familiar with them, Grove is a certified B Corporation. Being a B Corp means they run a business in a way that is good for people, animals, communities, and the planet. The thing that first caught my attention is that all of Grove's household products are plastic neutral. Then I got excited that they offer toilet paper made out and paper towels made out of bamboo. Anyway, moments later, those cobwebs in the dust were gone. But I had more to do. I proceeded to check out other rooms in the house. While there were no bright lights in those corners, I was now attuned to the problem and set out to fix it everywhere. This everyday experience of me cleaning echoes what God said through the prophet Isaiah. I am the Lord. I have called you in righteousness. I have taken you by the hand and kept you. I have given you as a covenant to the people, a light to the nations, to open the eyes that are blind, to bring out the prisoners from the dungeon, from the prison those who sit in darkness. Did you catch that? A light to the nations, to open the eyes that are blind. And the result of this newfound sight is freedom for the imprisoned. So how does living the Beatitudes light up the world? A moment ago, as I talked about my Grove dust whisperer, I'm guessing it sounded a bit like an infomercial. And while if you are curious, I do have a referral link in the show notes, that really is not the point. Rather, I did it to highlight one way followers of Jesus should mourn the injustices committed by corporate America. Supply-side economics, combined with unfettered capitalism, is bad for people, animals, communities, and the planet. It only serves those in corporate leadership and shareholders. The past 40 years reveal trickle-down economic theory as an abject failure. Wages of everyday people are stagnant. The middle class is disappearing. The wealth gap continues to expand. And both of our major political parties facilitate the corporate assault on everyday people. People who embody the Beatitudes can and should point this out. This is not based on some meritocratic right, but the construction of a system designed to benefit the few at the expense of the many. And while this societal injustice affects all people, it is most oppressive towards people of color, especially women of color. While B Corps are not perfect, and I am a fan of one of their biggest critics, they do attempt to address some of these issues. This is why I personally canceled Amazon Prime and replace them with services like Grove and Misfits Market. I also go out of my way to shop at locally owned small businesses. I do not care how many Walmarts I pass on the way there. That is part of mourning injustice. It is about the direction of meek anger. A pure heart refuses to overlook corporate atrocities just because they engage in some symbolic charity work. Never mind that their charity pretends to fix problems created by their own shoddy business practices. Peacemakers insist that society at all levels works for the thriving of everyone. But sometimes, before you can fix a problem, you need to expose it. That is what it means to be the light of the world.